Call the meeting to order. Stand for the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we have to announce where we're to, so I guess Commissioner Adamini and Commissioner Corcoran are present here. I'll call on Commissioner DeRosa,
Humboldt Township.
Mr. Nordine,
Glen, Michigan.
Mr. Alholm.
Southway Township.
So we have Mr. DePietro,
City of Marquette.
so all are present. Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held on January 19th, 2021. Your pleasure.
I'll move to, Commissioner DePietro move to approve the minutes as presented.
Commissioner Alholm supports.
Any comments or questions on the minutes? Roll call.
Commissioner DePietro,
Yes.
Commissioner DeRosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Adamini,
Yes.
Commissioner Nordine,
Yes.
Commissioner Alholm,
Yes.
and Chairperson Corcoran.
Yes. Proclamations, presentations, and awards, we have none. Approval of the agenda, motion would be in order.
I will move the.
Moved by Commissioner Adamini, have a support.
Support, Commissioner Nordine.
Any comments on the agenda, questions? Roll call.
Commissioner Adamini,
Yes.
Commissioner Nordine,
Yes.
Commissioner Alholm,
Yes.
Commissioner DePietro,
Yes.
Commissioner DeRosa,
Yes.
Chairperson Corcoran.
Yes. Public comment, I guess Mr. Weesey is on for public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and other members of the board and public that may be watching. Matt Weezy, Marquette County Prosecuting Attorney. I'm present in my office, just down the hall from you, Chairman. And I wanted to give you an update from 2020 on our criminal caseload and what's going on, and part of the plan that the judges are working on. I've been talking to Judge Mizuki about moving forward. I believe in your packet you may have received information. Mr. Irish, did you provide that to the board members?
Yeah, I provided it to them via email.
Very good, thank you, sir. You'll see that in 2020 we had 839 new felony cases filed in Marquette County. That's an increase of about 170 cases from 2019. These are cases filed, they are not charges, so that means each one of those is a new case. You'll also see that we filed about 1,400 or 1,500 misdemeanor cases that we reviewed. Misdemeanors are down a little bit because some things have been decriminalized, like marijuana charges and minor possession. And quite frankly, we have just been denying a lot more misdemeanors than we used to. Of all the felonies presented to us last year, we had over 1,000 that we reviewed, and we charged 839. We declined 16% of the cases brought to us for review and criminal prosecution. So 16% of the felony cases that we reviewed, we did not charge. That doesn't mean we didn't work on them. Sometimes those cases are the hardest cases to handle because they have a lot of time involved. They're quite often victim cases where we're talking to victims about the pros and cons of going forward on a case, what our burden of proof is, the difference between being able to prove the case beyond reasonable doubt and whether or not we think the person did the crime. Quite often these are sex crimes, and they take a lot of our time. Additionally, of the misdemeanor cases, we declined 26%, which is an increase over the past years. And I think that we declined more misdemeanors because, quite frankly, we're busy with the felonies. Going forward, having talked to Judge Mizuki about this, we have over 450 felony cases pending in circuit court that are going to be handled by Judge Mizuki and Judge Weber. And the plan going forward is that once we can all get together and have jury trials, is to schedule them 6 to 8 at a time. And what this means is that we will have 6 to 8 sets of witnesses under subpoena. We will have to prepare 6 to 8 felony cases to go to trial, and nobody's going to get excused until we have a jury selected and somebody's getting tried. And we'll call the first case, and if that case pleads out, we'll call case number 2. If that case pleads out, they'll call case number 3. As you can imagine, it's going to be pretty chaotic and really hectic to try to get through this backlog of cases that we have. The last jury trial we had in Marquette County was one that I tried. It was an armed robbery in the Irontown pasty shop, and it was last February, February 2020. We haven't had a jury trial since then, and so we are behind. I am looking at options as to what I can do. As you can imagine, having a 100% increase in our caseload over the last 5 years is making it difficult to do our job. And I'm looking at caseload studies. I'm looking at where I might need help with support staff. And quite honestly, we need help. I don't have a proposal for you tonight. I've been trying to give you regular updates. I intend to continue to give you regular updates, but I will be coming to you in the future with some proposals for you to consider, options for you to consider, ways that we can creatively handle the amount of cases that we're trying to process in Marquette County. One last thing, and then if you have any questions, is you'll note the methamphetamine cases in that handout that I sent have increased to a record of 229 methamphetamine felony cases in 2020. And that is about 22-23% total felony caseload. So we still have a methamphetamine epidemic here. And it's not the stuff that they used to make in a Gatorade bottle. This is cartel meth that's coming into our community. We only had one meth lab case in 2020. All the rest were deliveries or possessions, and those are all 10 and 20-year felonies. I just want to give you a heads up. We're busy. I'm working most every day in the office. I have 13 people in this office, counting myself. And 2 of us are working daily in the facility because we're separated by walls and doors. And the other 11 are all working remotely primarily. And working remotely has its pros and cons. Our IT staff is amazing, and they've done a great job to get people set up, but things do not go as quickly through a remote access point as they do when we're all here working together. So that's just added more complexities to what we're trying to do, but we're getting the job done. But it's also we're busy. I just want to give you a heads up and answer any questions if you have any.
I have one. Are all 83 counties this far behind from the judges not having any trials?
Commissioner Corkin, from what I can see, yes, and what I'm hearing is yes. Now, some of the counties are saying they're going to try cases next month, but I just don't see that happening. So yeah, everyone's backed up, and it's going to take a while to get things cleared up. I can only imagine what it's like in some of the larger, more urban jurisdictions. This must be a nightmare.
Any other questions from commissioners? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Okay, closed for public comment. Review of claims and account, total expenditures for the period 15th of January through the 28th, 2021, $435,051.11. This amount does not include checks for Delta Biweekly payroll for the period ending January 23rd, 2021, $702,083.71. Motion to pay those two sets of bills would be in order.
I move to approve the bill.
I'll support.
Motion by Commissioner Allen, we have a support. Any questions on any of the bills? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Allen,
Yes.
Commissioner DePietro,
Yes.
Commissioner DeRosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Adamini,
Yes.
Commissioner Nordine,
Yes.
and Chairperson Corcoran.
Yes. Check number 203-883, 122-21, $259.94, payable to Elder Delta Co-op. Commissioner Alholm is recused as she serves on the board. So a motion be in order to pay that bill.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Adamini. Have a support.
Commissioner DePietro, support.
Roll call.
Commissioner Adamini,
Yes.
Commissioner Nordine,
Yes.
Commissioner DePietro,
Yes.
Commissioner DeRosa,
Yes.
Chairperson Corcoran.
Yes. No public hearings or privileged comment informational item. We have a letter from Republic Township, a letter of thanks, says, "Thank you, Marquette County Board of Commissioners, for your assistance with helping with the Federal Regulatory Agency. We appreciate all of your help in the development of the natural gas pipeline. This will greatly improve our infrastructure and bring more prosperity to our community. Thank you again. Sincerely, the Republic Township Board." Motion to accept it for file would be in order.
Motion to accept, Commissioner DeRosa.
Commissioner DePietro, support.
Roll call.
Commissioner DeRosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Adamini,
Yes.
Commissioner Nordine,
Yes.
Commissioner Alholm,
Yes.
Commissioner DePietro,
Yes.
Chairperson Corcoran.
Yes. 11A action item, partial waiver of 2021 Health Department business licenses fee recommendation. Last time we had a motion on that, and the administrators talked it over with the supervisors at the Health Department, and they had another suggestion. They agreed with what we were trying to do, but they thought it would be much more manageable if we did it for 2021, when licenses are due at the end of April, and reducing them 50% for the year. It would be easier for them to manage, and everybody would benefit that has a license. So we can do that if we pass a motion for reconsideration, which can be made by any commissioner who voted for the motion last time. So, go ahead.
I make a motion to approve action item 11A.
And I support it because Joe and I did it last time, just seeing do again. It's interesting, so.
So the motion is a motion for reconsideration on the motion that we took last time. Any other comments? Roll call.
Commissioner DeRosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Adamini,
Yes.
Commissioner Nordine,
Yes.
Commissioner Alholm,
Yes.
Commissioner DePietro,
Yes.
Chairperson Corcoran.
Yes. And the recommendation then would be to give a 50% reduction to these businesses that we license for food service for 2021 license. We need a motion to put it clearly in the record.
Well, I thought that's what we just had a motion for. We have something, what now? I'm confused. Say it again.
We had the vote for reconsideration, and the motion that we want to approve is to reduce the cost 50% for the restaurants for 2021 license.
Okay,
Is it-
I think,
I'll make that motion. Joe, you got me, please?
okay, go ahead. I'll support Karen's motion.
okay.
And what motion is that?
The vote,
Did you want to repeat?
did you have a question, I didn't put your,
I guess I'll ask Wendy, do we need to make it clear with another motion here?
Chairperson Corrigan, that would be the simplest thing to do. I think you kind of folded them together. Basically, the initial motion was to reconsider the original action.
Right.
And then the follow-up motion is to approve this new plan. And if I understand what Commissioner Nardine did, he just kind of merged those into one. So if you want to make the record crystal clear, you can have a new motion supporting this new percentage reduction, but I actually think it's broader than just food service. If I understood the health department's recommendation, it was for all license fees, so for like your tattoo parlors and your hair salons and all of those places that were forced to close. It's not just food service. Maybe the administrator can chime in on that, but my understanding was that it was broader than just food service.
I think the motion that we approved was all licenses that Marquette County Health Department issues that were affected by the closure, so.
I think that the problem, right, and if I could chime in too, I think they were worried about how to define affected by. So what they did, I think, was say that we're just gonna give everyone, 50% off of their license for the year of 2021. So I think it's all businesses. And I think that was easier to implement and easier to understand because our motion last time was a little bit ambiguous, I guess, or hard to understand, right?
And that's correct, commissioners and chairman, that number of the cost that the annual amount is reflective of all businesses that have the licenses. So what you have is accurate to what's being described by commissioners.
So is that what your motion reflects, Karen?
yeah,
And the support by Commissioner DeRosa, okay with that?
Yes,
Okay. Further questions or comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Elbow,
yeah,
Commissioner DePietro,
Yes.
Commissioner DeRosa,
yes,
Commissioner Adair,
Yes.
Commissioner Nordine,
Yes.
Chairperson Corrigan.
Yes. 11B is a live scan fingerprinting equipment purchase recommendation from the county clerk. Linda?
So in front of you tonight, I'm asking the board to consider allowing my office to actually do the live scan printing for concealed pistol licenses. I do many new and renewals. The renewals do not need the printing, of course, but the new ones do. What this would do is keep it all in-house, make it a one-stop shop for the customers. They don't have to go and make appointments. As you all know, with COVID, it's been very difficult. They get everything done in my office except for the printing, then they have to go make another appointment for that. That being said, in the last 5 years, I went back and I've lost $31,290 out of my office revenue because I'm giving it to the different entities that are helping me do the printing. So before you tonight, I did 3 different quotes from vendors. The one was IDEMIA for $81.75, ID Networks was $75.85, and iTouch Biometrics was $75.90. All of these have been approved by the state of Michigan weapons area that I work with. So it's after I've kind of weighed the pros and cons, the one that I seem to like and the one that has the best to offer me is going to be iTouch Biometrics. in the amount of $75.90. I'm hoping you all see it that way as well. The thing I like with them is they have the silicone pad. If you approve this, it'll be just easier and they have less errors. And then it just makes it much more uniform. It's gonna make the process from start to finish much faster for customers, and they are going to be ecstatic once I can get this, if I can get this online. If we go online, it'd be about 3 weeks out before I'd be able to do it, and if you guys push the button to go, I can go pretty fast.
So the recommendation is, after weighing all the pros and cons to all three vendors, I would recommend the county board award High Touch Biometrics the amount of $7,590. This vendor offers a silicone pad printing for the glass scanner. The state of Michigan Weapons Division stated there have been little to no errors using the silicone pad. Pleasure of the board.
Commissioner DePietro would, recommend approving the motion.
Support, Commissioner.
Yeah,
Do you have a question?
I would like to add that, it's only $5 more than, on the lowest bid. Considering the recommendation of our clerk, I don't think a $5 difference, merits awarding it other than the way we plan on doing here.
Thank you. Other questions or comments of commissioners?
Commissioner DePietro, I'd like to ask the county clerk if High Touch had any bid, any contract with Lake Market City PD, county sheriff, or any other local enforcement in Market County?
Not that I'm aware of. I do.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
I did reach out, however, to one, I asked them for some references. I wanted to do my homework a little further, so I asked for some references, and I did contact references that are using this machine currently, and they have been pleased.
Any other comments?
Sounds great.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner DePietro?
Yes.
Commissioner DeRosa?
Yeah.
Commissioner Adamini?
Yes.
Commissioner Nordine?
Yes.
Commissioner Alholm?
Yeah.
And Chairperson Corkin?
Yes.
And thank you all, I appreciate it.
10C Sawyer Parking Lot System Upgrade Recommendation. Dwayne?
This is Megan. I can start off with that. So Sawyer staff is requesting our county board to approve the selection of a new parking system. The request for bids was posted online to the airport and county website. Market Builders Association and shared with multiple parking system companies for research. The bid opening took place on the 11th of January and 4 bids were received. The current parking system at Sawyer was installed back in 2009 and is well beyond its recommended useful life. The new parking system was scoped out with multiple modern specifications, including a cloud-based server, touchless entry, PCI credit card compliance systems, ease of entry, quality of equipment, and warranty options. We also added multiple alternate bid options that were requested. They are listed below. These alternates were requested with both credit card and only options and credit card and cash options. This is a note recycler, pay-on-foot station, capability to use the airport's current badging cards that we use for our access control system, optional extended warranty, and an optional service contract. These proposals were scored by Sawyer staff and the requirements below. The scores were these are the average scores for the Sawyer staff. With flat parking coming on top of 84.5. And then a breakdown of the bids is listed below in the email that was given in your packet. They're listed in no particular order. Does anyone have any questions before I go on to our recommendation?
Yeah, I have some. I guess it's only 10 years ago that we put in a parking system, and we've had nothing but trouble, and when you look at the bottom line here, it says $200,000 for this one. Are we gonna be dealing with this 2 years from now because it's not functioning?
We sure hope not. We actually, Adam, I think we have, if you have any more technical questions, we have Jonathan Evans with flash parking, who is our recommendation, on to answer more technical questions, but, we are requesting flash parking because, they're kind of marketed as a plug and go system, not too much, service is required. Most of our staff can do it on site, which limits costs. So flash parking includes the credit card and cash option for the POS station. We're requesting to consider all alternates, which we think they benefit the airport greatly, but not including bid alternate 5. They're so confident in our system that they're not even really recommending a bid alternate 5 is the extended warranty. It does not require the ease of the maintenance of the system. This will be the only cash payment option for the on-foot station. We're really trying to keep a modern system where the systems out in the parking lot will be credit card only, and the only cash option will be inside, as that's where the way of paying is going in our society. The base bid includes credit card only options, excluding that on-foot station inside, and then the 3-year warranty. With all the alternates. All replacement parts can be installed easily when needed, and all service is expected to be received remotely. If we do need to bring staff on site from flash parking, that should be very rare. And monthly fees cover all continuous system updates for the entire system. Those are those monthly fees broken down above in that table. Through the CARES Act, this was budgeted for about $250,000. Even though Flash did not provide the lowest proposal price, the yearly fees offer savings for the future that surpass the other proposals by savings over time. For example, approximately $9,000 a year for Flash parking's yearly fees is about $90,000 for the next 10 years, which is the lowest for the compared to the other companies. So in total, staff recommends the county board approve park system from Flash parking with all alternates for $200,952.50. And if anyone has any more technical questions, if Adam would allow Jonathan Evans to speak as well.
Have we checked into this system and how it's worked at other places?
Yes, at multiple other references raised about flash parking, and it had no complaints. And also, there were multiple airports as well.
Megan, Commissioner DePietro,
Yeah.
will your staff be trained on how to, if something's go wrong with it, for them to correct it?
Yep, with the install, we include as much room training as we need. This should be, if John knows the exact, I think for sure at least a few days training.
Reason why I was asking was, I did get locked inside the gate a couple of times. I walked over to the main desk, and they sent maintenance crew there, and they had repaired it in about 5 minutes.
Oh, good. Good.
Got there, so I was hoping we could continue that kind of service.
Okay, and I did forget to add, with all the parking systems, it was also with Flash. There's a telecom service offered, so to kind of help our staff for a 24-hour service, it would be a call button that passengers could press on the screen to have someone call in from any off-site like CSR center.
Very good, thank you.
The only other comment I've had more complaints about the parking system out there at the airport over the last decade than any other problem in the county, so I hope that we can get something that can be maintained and work so people don't run into all these issues.
Absolutely.
Dwayne, do you have any comment on it?
Yep, I have a comment. The only comment I have is it says see attached bid tabulation sheets, and I was looking, I don't have any, sir.
I sent them to Scott, I can resend them.
I just was looking for a good point in there. But,
There's a breakdown of the alternates I can send as well.
and the question I had really was, what are we getting for the $9,000 a year? I'm not sure, what do they do for us for that?
Adam, are you able to have John speak? Jonathan Evans with Flash Parking.
Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Jonathan Evans. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Jonathan Evans from Flash Parking. I've been in the parking industry for roughly 20 years and know you're paying with the current system because I used to sell that current system with another company. So with Flash, part of what we call our SaaS fees, software as a service, is a model moving toward automatic updates and upgrades to keep with your PCI compliance, your reporting, all of your uptime, and associated features with the system. So what we've seen by having that system versus a on-site server-based system is actually a reduction in total cost of ownership and higher customer satisfaction scores on exit.
Thanks, John.
Okay, so, well, that sounded all good, but what exactly, so for this $9,000 a year, you're giving us, technical updates, computer updates, that sort of thing, and what else? What if there's a maintenance problem or something goes wrong, do you handle that too, or not?
Yes, sir. So let me address your questions in order. The first question was, do we give automatic upgrades and updates? Yes, we are. The traditional way of buying a legacy parking system was buying a physical on-site server, and then the airport was responsible for upgrades and updates. Those usually ran in the neighborhood of 15 to 30,000 every third year. With Flash, that's rolled into those $9,000 a year. So you get Microsoft upgrade and updates and all of your PCI updates. The second question you had was based on service. As part of the base bid, we're providing all 10 parts for the machine that Marquette will be able to keep on the shelf there. They're all USB plug and play, and we have videos online on how to change these, plus Tier 1 and Tier 2 support, so you can change the part out if they went bad.
Okay, and do you have support if our people can't figure out the YouTube or whether we have shown them how to do it? Do we have support that we call into?
Yes, sir, we do. We have a certified, what we call FAM member, Flash affiliate member out of Detroit, and they're on our bid as a subcontractor to install, so they'll be very familiar with the site.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Grosha, while you're up, what's the warranty on this product and what's the shelf life expectancy on it?
The warranty on the product is 1 year out of the box, but we've given a 3-year warranty on this. And the shelf life of the system, I know it sounds a little strange, but the trend that we're seeing in parking is technology is going to force the switch versus the equipment failing. I feel confident in Flash being a leader in the technology world. We've just done a lot of exciting mergers, and the next 12 to 18 months in the parking industry is going to be really exciting, if you can believe that.
So what is that life expectancy?
Oh, this equipment will easily run for 10 years. It's a matter of will you want to upgrade it before that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? We have a recommendation that Market County Board approves the purchase of the parks system from Flash Parking, total $200,952.50. Any comments on it, Scott?
Nothing from me. It's timely that we need to move on this. As you note, the complaints have been there for a long time. We've lost revenue with the old system. It's time to move on. And I think the staff have really worked hard to try to bring you a product with the recommendation here tonight, and we're hopeful that this will be the next step for us. If you remember, our old system was very labor intensive prior to having this system. It was all manual, and this new technology for us is a much better step. So
the gentleman said that we're going to have stuff available to teach people how to maintain these things. Do we have someone out there that can do that?
as far as take on that late training?
Maintaining these?
Well, yeah, I'd defer that to Dwayne or Megan on that. Yes, we have people that would be trained on that. So.
Yes, our staff will be fully trained on it, all of our staff, as well as me. And it's plug and play. I really have no concern with our staff with it.
Commissioner, I'd like to voice that as well.
We did quite a bit of research on this, as you and Scott may know, we, at the airport, we've been reviewing a replacement of our park system for quite some time and garnering all of the vendors that provided bids for this particular RFP. It required a lot of insight and research, and we feel, again, as Megan has voiced, we feel Flash is the best choice. It will provide the easiest maintenance for our staff, and with it having continuous updating capabilities, we should be able to avoid a lot of issues where we were working with other vendors that we would have to force through updates so that we could get the system up and running again. So I would stand behind Megan's memo that this is the best option we have.
I would move approval, as Commissioner Nordine, I move approval of staff's recommendation, and then I have a comment after their support.
Commissioner Arnold supports.
All right, and my comment is this, that I'm glad to see that we're improving our infrastructure and using our CARES grant. We had a pretty large CARES grant, we're very fortunate, and hopefully we do some good improvements so that when we're past all that, we won't have to do anything for many years to come. So this is the kind of thing that I'm happy to see.
The only comment I'll make is I'll go along with your recommendation, but I hope I'm not coming back in the next year or two with the same kinds of complaints that we've been getting for a decade. Any other comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Nordine?
Yes.
Commissioner Alholm?
Yes.
Commissioner DePietro?
Yes.
Commissioner DeRosa?
Yes.
Commissioner Adamini?
Yes.
And Chairperson Porter?
Yes. Next, we have DMDOT ARF grant recommendation in resolution. This, I guess, is for Sawyer International Airport is required to have this training every year and get $2,000 from MDOT and 10% share from the county here, $200, $2,200. Staff is recommending the Marquette County Board approve the MDOT grant for $2,000 and also approve the resolution authorizing the chair to sign the agreement. So it's a motion to be in order to discuss it.
I move to approve the grant.
Commissioner DePietro seconds the motion.
Any
Thank you.
comments on it, Megan or Dwayne?
No, you shared it really well. This is a required training that we do every year, and this funding really helps with us covering that.
Where's the training going to take place this year?
I'm not sure what city, Dwayne, do you know?
I think Houghton, we'll be going up to Houghton for the training with, again, we train with all the other UP airports, so I believe Houghton is our location this year.
So we have a motion and a support. Further questions or comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Alholm?
Yes.
Commissioner DePietro?
Yes.
Commissioner DeRosa?
Yes.
Commissioner Adamini?
Yes.
Commissioner Nordine?
Yes.
And Chairperson Porter?
Yes, so that's approval of the grant and the resolution. Next, MDOT FOD BOSS grant and purchase recommendation on picking up debris. I guess we have a staff recommendation to board approve the MDOT grant for $4,000. Also approve the resolution authorizing the chair to sign the MDOT agreement. This is for, I guess, machinery to pick up debris on the airport. Want to comment on it? Megan, Dwayne?
Yes, so we are still researching with exactly what type of removal system. We want to make sure we get the right one, but clouded or foreign object debris that could cause harm to an aircraft or airport vehicle. So this system would be a top-behind unit. There's multiple different types, and it uses friction to pick up the debris, and then from the collection units, it sends dumps. And these are very useful, obviously, in the not in icy conditions, but any other time, if it's rocks to really, let's say, any pieces of metal that could harm aircraft, and it would really help our bot program develop more at the airport.
I have a question. So I guess I'm trying to visualize what it means. I don't know what it means to be a friction pickup. I would have thought that we would have had a broom unit that would go on and take off rocks and debris that things that happen to fly onto the.
Yeah. So with the broom unit, some can still be missed and fly off the side. So I wish you could have included a picture. It's a very flat unit that's towed behind, like a pickup truck, goes about barely 20 miles an hour. And there's these units, that kind of like parallel to each other. If you Google quad removal system, it pops up and they all look generally the same. But it's kind of a large piece of fabric, very heavy duty fabric that will pick things up and then somehow have it flow into the collection unit, to my best understanding. But with brooms, they use them on the airport as well. They still will push some debris out onto the sides of the pavement that could then hurt aircraft.
What's the biggest debris problem at Sawyer?
It can really be anything, say from small pieces of pavement, a small rock could really hurt a large jet engine to, I don't know, anything that could fall from an aircraft, from a small nut to a bolt, really anything.
So there's nuts and bolts falling off of our aircraft?
No, but it didn't happen.
But Megan, also, you have the potential of broken metal parts coming off of your plow driver's equipment.
Yeah.
When it's real cold out, and the metal gets fragile, chunks of metal could fall off and stay on the runway, where this piece of equipment would be able to pick it up with the magnetic.
Yep, and we also have a magnet bar that we currently have, and this would be supplemental with that. But, yeah.
So, we have a motion on this one?
No.
Not yet.
We have a motion to consider the recommendation then for the $4,000 for approving the resolution here. Get the.
I move to follow staff recommendation in this regard.
Show the support.
Commissioner DePietro, support.
Further questions or comments? Roll call.
Chairperson Parkin, I would like to note that this matter was discussed at the Airport Advisory Committee, a couple of different meetings, and what we were seeing was pieces that looked like shrapnel in some cases, and they were then causing damage to basically the general aviation planes out there. So, and those planes, I imagine, aren't cheap, but I think this is a good step forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Alholm. Any other comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Alholm,
Yeah.
Commissioner DePietro,
Yes.
Commissioner DeRosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Avenini,
Yes.
Commissioner Nordine,
Yes.
and Chairperson Clerk.
Yes. Next, Sawyer water meter, bid recommendation. Dwayne?
Yes, this evening, Commissioners, I have a proposal for your consideration. This is relating to a water meter replacement program to include software and hardware to implement a system that will streamline a lot of our operations. Over the course of a handful of years, we've been working with one of our major suppliers of water meters, which is Badger water meters. We've had issues with the drive-by meter reading devices. They would fail time and time again. We would get them and they'd be in a failed position as well. So over the course of years, we've started to review other vendors for water meter systems that we can utilize with the same techniques and the same practices of a drive-by meter reading system. And we've had a lot of luck with Mueller meters. Some of the benefits of this particular product is they also have a device where you can remotely shut water meters off, which will limit the need for our staffing to go into personal residences to physically shut meters off and remove them. We'd be able to remotely shut them off. Now, we put out a request for proposals for meters, and unfortunately, all we received back was one proposal, and it was from Aetna Water Supply, a company out of Marquette, and they do provide the Mueller water meters. The price came in at $56,048. It's a little over budget than what we had initially planned for. We had put this in the capital improvement project fund for the water distribution back in, I believe, 2018, and we just kind of kicked this down the road a handful of years, and we finally got around to it. And it was originally budgeted for $50,000. We feel that the additional $6,000 is well worth the benefits that we'll receive. The proposal asked for a handful of items. The purchase of 48 standard drive-by meters that staffing would be able to drive by with a remote reader and be able to read the water meters. Also to include was 56 water meters that we would be able to remotely shut off from our office here at the Airport Services Center in the event that we had a tenant or an organization that was not compliant with their water bills. And then this would also include all the hardware and software necessary to support these units, meaning a laptop, antenna, a reader, and then of course the training to complete all of the reads for staffing and operators. Staff is making a recommendation to go with Aetna Supply out of Marquette to purchase this again for $56,048. And we feel it would be beneficial for the water department to move into this new meter.
What's the schedule for replacing all of the Badger meters out there?
Well, our plans is to replace them out as they fail. There are a handful of the Badger meters that are starting to age out. They're coming up on 10 and even close to 20-year-old meters, and we would replace them out with the Mueller meters. That's why we initially went with 48 meters so that we could change them out as they fail. We're not going to change out meters that are functioning correctly. We'd change them out as needed. Now, the meters that we're able to remotely shut off, we would utilize them in a position where we had specific situations where the tenants warranted such a device that we could remotely turn them on and off from the Airport Services Center. One of the challenges that we face is with some of the larger multiplexes, the water meters have they may be all in one particular unit, and the water meters may be spread across 4 other apartments. And if we have a tenant that is refusing to pay their water bill, and the water meter is in another tenant's apartment, sometimes it becomes very challenging for us to get into residences and shut their water off. And then with the multiplexes, we are very limited. If it was a single family dwelling, we could shut the water off at the street But if it's a multiplex, we have to limit that, because if we do, we would affect all of the tenants. Coupled with that, these meters are going to save us approximately $48 per meter as per our previous purchases with the Badger meter versus the Mueller meter. So we feel this is, again, a worthwhile project. We'll be getting new meters that would be warrantied out for another 20 years. They would have the advanced technology that we could utilize to handle some of the scenarios that we've been playing with, and then also improved readers that we wouldn't necessarily have as much problems with when we're doing remote reads.
Question, Dwayne, if I may?
Yes?
How many meters are we purchasing?
We're looking at, right now, we're looking at 48 standard drive-by meters and then 56 meters that have the capability of remote shut-off.
So we're not upgrading the whole system, we're just taking a small percentage of it, is that?
Currently, yes, and we also have in our capital improvement budget, on an annual basis, a line item of $15,000 to continue to purchase meters as they come in need of replacement, so that we would, over the course of a handful of years, we would be able to replace out the majority of them. Granted, the current meters, the Badger meter, we will have that system in place for quite some time, because up until recently, we were still replacing several of our meters with the Badger style. And again, we wouldn't replace those unless they had failed.
Thank you.
I got a couple of quick ones. First of all, are these only on the residential side, or are some of these meters on the industrial side?
This could go on either application, but the meters that we're looking at purchasing are primarily residential meters.
How many residential meters do we have out there? You know,
Roughly 1,200. Right today, we have roughly 1,200 meters.
so this is 104, so it's about 10% of all our meters. So
That would be correct.
So,
Yes.
so for instance, if we did the whole residential area, or the whole base, we'd end up, it cost us over $500,000. It seems a little high to me, but I guess I don't really know.
Well, we've done the research, and the meter prices are very comparable. Again, the Mueller meter in relation to the Badger meter that we currently have, the same model style with the drive-by read is approximately $48 less than the Badger meter. So we would be acknowledging the savings. The challenge with meters is the system that you have behind it to support it. And we've gone a long way from the day where the person would actually physically read the meter. Now we have the remote reads where we can drive by with a unit installed in the vehicle. It streamlines our ability to read larger volume of homes with one staff member. And with that, there is an expense related to all of the software and the hardware that's tied to that. And when you look at the electronic device that is mounted on top of these meters, that's roughly about $200 just for that particular aspect of the meter. So they do get quite costly. And it would be nice if all of the remote reads were universal and you could utilize one specific reader, but unfortunately every brand has their own reader style and their own frequencies for each individual meter. So it's not like we can go and purchase this brand today and the next brand tomorrow and just keep shopping with the most reasonable meter costs.
One more question, Dwayne, if I may. So following up, we're gonna buy around 100 meters, and am I getting this right? So these are residential meters, 1-inch taps? 3/4 tap meters?
They're 3/4 and 5/8 inch fittings on each end of the meter. So they are a residential style meter.
And in your memo, it says we're gonna install them, or we're gonna continue to install them?
Yes, we would go in, currently our staff does go in and replace meters as necessary, remove meters as necessary, and repair them as necessary. So this would be something that we would do internally.
Yeah, because it's kind of mind-boggling that that's $5,600 a piece.
No, it's not $5,600 per meter. We have total of roughly 100 meters, and it's a $56,000. It's roughly, about, if you were to average out, it's about $560.
$560.
Yes.
But they're not putting them in, we are.
We are putting them in, yes.
So we have the staff recommendation purchasing the water meters by read system from Aetna Supply for $56,048 and changing our supplies of future water meters to Aetna Supply.
I have a question.
Commissioner DePietro would like to move to approve the recommendation.
Have the support?
I'll support it, and I have a question.
Support by
I have a
Commissioner.
question of Commissioner as to what the advisory committee did. Are you still the chair?
Are you asking Commissioner Alholm?
Yes.
Mr. Edmund?
Are you still the chair of the advisory committee, Chair?
The question is to Commissioner Alho, you're the chair of the advisory committee at the airport.
She's muted.
If I may speak on in her behalf, she is no longer the chair. We just recently voted in a new chairperson.
What was the discussion by the advisory committee? Are they fully supporting this?
Now, this is tied more directly to the wastewater department, and this is not something that we would normally bring to the advisory committee for consideration.
The advisory committee is that's for the airport, right? Not the.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah, it's outside of their scope.
Any other questions or comments on the recommendation?
No.
Roll call?
Commissioner DePietro,
Yes.
Commissioner DeRosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Adamini,
Yes.
Commissioner Nordine,
Yes.
Commissioner Alholm. Chairperson Corrigan.
Yes. Next, Hangar
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Commissioner DePietro, one comment to Dwayne and Megan is all the municipalities like City of Marquette, Water Department, the Electrical Department, the gas company had manual reading by meter readers that go up and read it manually at each house. And every year there was injuries of the reader meters getting bitten by dogs, some of them falling down in the wintertime by coming up and down steps. So you're going to find a big savings as far as being able to go to the new system and eliminate all these health and safety issues. Thank you, Dwayne.
Thank you. Next, Hangar 665, Apron Construction Contract, Payne and Dolan recommendation. Dwayne?
This particular aspect of the project is related to the construction administration of the Apron Rehabilitation. As the board may know, that we are moving forward with the expansion of Hangar 665. We've awarded the contract to Immel Construction, and they're already starting preliminary work. Hopefully, they'll be putting spades in the dirt in May. Coupled with that is the replacement of the commercial apron in front of Hangar 665 to accommodate the larger aircraft and the heavier weights. Currently, the apron has partially concrete, partially asphalt. And our desire is to have a complete concrete apron that would be able to support the larger aircraft. This project was originally designed and estimated at a cost significantly about 37% less than what it is today. Originally it was roughly $326,000. The new revised cost, as per the bid documents and construction costs, we've bumped it up to $449,829. This was a significant increase that we really did not anticipate. We also have additional funding to help offset the local cost on this, as we had applied for an MDAR grant, and we were successful with that, so that offsets the total cost of the project down to $349,829. Now, the aspect of this project that I'm requesting consideration for approval is the construction and administration side, which is $72,975. Again, this originally was estimated to be roughly about $50,000, but with the rise in cost and the scope of the project, it had been escalated up to come to the amount of $72,975. Staff is recommending that we proceed forward and allow or have the chairperson, authorize the chairperson to sign the agreement to amend the current engineering document to include construction administration.
I have a comment if I could. So, Mead and Hunt, who's our engineers, I believe, came out and gave us this estimate of 326, and they were off by 37%. And now we're going to increase their pay from 50,000 to 73,000. I think that seems a little odd, but what did Mead and Hunt say why they were off by 37% in the first place?
Well, the primary reason of the raised cost was due to labor and materials, and the fact that they bid it out for construction back in 2020 with proposed construction in 2021, so the contractor had to add into that the ability to hold those costs through to 2021. So that added to the cost of the project.
I have a question as well. So with these changes, did Mead and Hunt have in that agreement to use prevailing wage labor?
All of the prevailing wages and any of the specific requirements under the federal contract, we included in this in the event the board so desired for us to pursue this under the CARES Act, so it would be completely compliant with an FAA AIP grant. So it does include prevailing wages, Buy American, all the other grant assurances that the FAA would mandate under a regular contract.
So, one question I have on the 349,829, how is that divided up as far as who's paying for it?
This particular aspect of the project, when we initially applied for the MAP application with the FAA for this, the FAA requested that we put, or we carry a portion of the overall project. When we did the estimates for the project to include hangar expansion, fire suppression, water, utility improvements, and then apron improvements, the apron improvement projects were the least expensive of all of the projects, so we selected that as a local only project. And again, that was by the request of the FAA that we would get better consideration for the money if we carry a more significant role or financial burden with or financial commitment with this project. So unfortunately, there is no federal split with it as it sits right now, but we again can pursue CARES Act funding for this if the board chose. Not that I would say that that would be the best solution, because as the board is aware, we have earmarked several other projects with the CARES Act funding, and anything that we take out of or anything that we add to the CARES Act tab will take away from another project that we had slated in the original proposals.
What was the total we got with the military airport funding?
We were originally awarded 29 million, but with the time delay and consideration with the FAA, at the end we're going to roughly have about 14 million with Hangar 665 expansion, and they just recently informed us that we are potentially eligible for 2 more projects, which will be fire suppression in Hangar 664 and fire suppression in Hangar 665. Just a rough estimate on cost of that. We're figuring it could be upwards of an additional $3 million in MAP funding.
So the 349 is kind of a local share. How much more do we have in local shares besides that? Do you have any idea?
Well, with the grant, the first portion of the MAP grant, which was the engineering side for Hangar 665, was roughly 1.27 million. That fell under the CARES Act, so that was 100% FAA. This next portion is the construction side, which is roughly about $7 million. We would be obligated to provide our 5% share of that. And then any project moving forward within the MAP application, if we do move forward with fire suppression, it would also be a 5% match. Just a quick math on that, we would have, boy, I'm kind of rough on my math at this time, but 5% of 10 million, roughly.
Okay, so thank you. Any other questions or comments? I guess.
One last comment, Chairman. I guess I'm of the mindset of Commissioner Nardine as well. Meeting Hunt seems to get a lot of business, and to come back for another bite of the apple is a little troubling. I hope that in the future we don't have to continue to do that. Continuing. They've been pretty solid with their numbers coming back and being far off, but having said that, I'll make the motion this time to approve.
Have a support?
Support.
Support, Commissioner Meany. Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Commissioner DeRosa?
Yes.
Commissioner Ivey?
Yes.
Commissioner Nordine?
Yes.
Commissioner Alholm?
Yes.
Commissioner DePietro?
Yes.
And Chairperson Corbin?
Yes. Next, joint Sawyer Airport study with Invest UP, a recommendation. We had a meeting here a few weeks ago, initiated by Bob Mahaney at Invest UP, that had a Zoom meeting with Scott and I and Mr. Arwood and Amy Berglund, used to be Levin's representative, and they're interested in working to improve the services on at Sawyer and work on things that can be improved. they're willing to put up $20,000 to have a study done by Mr. Harwood of how we can advance Sawyer, and are asking for us to match it for a year's study in ways that we can make improvements on at the airport. And I think that by them taking an initiative, I think it would be very wise for the county to join with this group. Especially Mahaney has done a lot of great development in Marquette County, and they seem very interested in working with the county out at Sawyer. So we have to come up with $20,000, and I guess the CARES funding possibly will be able to be used for our match in joining this. But Scott, you want to comment further?
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, we had a nice meeting, and Dwayne and Megan also participated. In addition to what the chairman said, what I guess I would add with this is that with InvestUP, it's a representation of large businesses and educational institutions across the Upper Peninsula, and they see some real value in our asset there out at Sawyer with the airport, and think that they have ideas on how to potentially work with us, and they want to sit down and learn more about the asset and how it's actually run. I think that's important for us as well. And I think partnering with the large organizations and getting them to work with us and really try to enhance our ridership out there, and if they're willing to work with us on it, I think this is a nice step in that effort to build that relationship, as well as probably get some pertinent information that we think we could use going forward. So I think it's...
I make a motion to support the $20,000 effort, and it's certainly it will be money well spent. That private sector group, he's got a track record of getting things done. So I make the motion.
Have a support?
Mr. Nordine supports.
Okay, I would agree, and Mr. Harwood there, he was head of the MEDC for a number of years, and has a lot of state contacts that could be helpful here at Sawyer, and I think we're at a point where locally in the county board has done a great job in the last 20 years along with the development out there, but I think there's possibilities for bigger development than we already have, so I think it would be a wise investment to work with InvestUP and Mr. Harwood to see what bigger things we can get done out at Sawyer. It's a pretty important part of the county. Steve?
Was there any discussion with this group when you were talking to them about a customs agent at the airport?
We've talked about the customs agent, but we didn't that day, but that's one that they've talked about a lot. They would like to pursue.
Okay. That's great.
Anyway, I think that it would be very interesting working with them, and I guess there's so much potential out at Sawyer that's untapped as far as things that can be developed. So it should be a very interesting year. Roll call.
Commissioner DeRosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Adamini,
Yes.
Commissioner Nordine,
Yes.
Commissioner Elbom,
Yes.
Commissioner DePietro,
Yes.
Chairperson Corrigan.
Yes. Next, we have an appointment to Central Dispatch, Mr. DePietro.
Yes, I'd like to make a recommendation to approve Lynn Nelson be appointed to the Central Dispatch Policy Board as the Sands Township EMS representative for a 3-year term ending in 12/31/2023. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Have a support?
Support.
I'll support.
Motion and a support. Roll call.
Commissioner DePietro,
Yes.
Commissioner DeRosa?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Commissioner Nordine?
Yes.
Commissioner Elbow?
Yes.
Chairperson Porter?
Yes. Next, public comment. Any,
Commissioner Flynn, if I may? Can you hear me?
yes,
Okay, I'll be real quick, the January stats. 210 calls for service, 17 arrests, including 4 for meth. We policed 33 accidents, issued 14 citations, put in 155 civil papers, served 128. Most of our employees received the first round of the COVID shots. The second shot for the road patrol is due this week, and then I think for the jail is their second shot is due next week. All the employees participated. We did receive Department of Justice accreditation for our use of force policies, duty to intervene, and some other things that came out due to new Department of Justice guidelines to be eligible for any federal grants through the Department of Justice. So we updated our policies and we're compliant with what they're asking. Search and rescue would help with one snowmobile PIA on Trail 5. We helped with a fatal accident up in Champion Township. We had another injury accident in Ishpeming City that we helped with, and a structure fire in Forsyth Township. The jail, for the month, we lodged 61 males, 21 females. Released 58 males, 18 females. Average daily population has been around 58. We've had around an average of 11 federal inmates per day, and I think that's it. Thank you.
thank you.
Question for Dan Willie, Mr. Chairman. This is Commissioner DePietro.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Could you, comment on your 2 employees, the one that was promoted and the other, I think Employee of the Year or something? I cut out the paper, but I put it in my secret hiding place. I couldn't find it. So I'm counting on you if you can recall the 2 employees.
Deputy,
Rombo?
you put me on the spot here.
Rombo?
Stan, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Deputy Rombo, is that the one?
No, Deputy, can I not make the next time? I'm not thinking of the names right now, I'm sorry.
That's all right, I had those senior moments too. Thank you.
I could find it real quick, but I don't want to keep you.
Yeah, that's all right, you're fine.
I have a question for you too.
Wrong back. Okay?
Hold on back. Hey Dan, I have a question for you. So I saw an advertisement that you're looking for people for the 131 unit, or search and rescue, one or two. So are you short people, or is it a common thing? I mean, is it a problem that you're running short or not?
I know that they're looking, that Captain Davis was looking to do some, interviews for the 131. I want to say that we may have lost a few people. Again, I'm not quite sure who they are. But I know that he's looking to supplement what we have, and I think it's because a few people have left.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very sorry for not being able to think of the deputy. It's not coming to me.
It's all right, I forgive you.
Normal names.
Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Okay, Commissioner comments, I guess, just a reminder to look at the email from Jack Vancouvering's law firm concerning the tax issue at the Empire. Without getting into detail here publicly, looks promising. The routes are going to get them back on the ad valorem role, it looks like CCI may be sorry that they decided they wanted to get off the specific tax when all was said and done. Other commissioner comments? Staff comments?
None for me, thank you.
Thank everybody and meeting's adjourned.
Okay.
Good.